Oh, just kidding. Nope, we're the ACC.
We can go. We
We
can
can do
go
whatever.
We can go
We
wherever
can
we
do
want,
whatever,
dude.
man.
We're in
We can
charge
go
of
wherever
this
we
thing.
want. It's our
I
own
got it
show.
rolling.
Your
on the
show,
ticker.
Jordan.
I got it rolling on the ticker. Oklahoma at Kansas plus 10 are the Jayhawks at home. This one should be exciting. This might be a high flying one, possibly. I think Parks has Oklahoma. Jake, you have Kansas. Parks, you start us off with Oklahoma.
Yeah, so you got to take a look at Oklahoma and kind of what they did last week. I think they scared the shit out of a lot of their fans. They get in a dogfight at home against a talented but really trying to find their way UCF squad. And my question lies when I took a look at this is can you classify that game as a hangover? Because you had a bye week after the Red River rivalry. Come on, that was pretty good for how fast I said it.
Red River rivalry.
Yep, you had a bye after that, but then you run into that UCF team in kind of a weird spot. So can you be hungover? Can that be a thing, or would you have covered by then?
I think Parks. That's like a New Year's Eve,
Yep.
kind of hangover. That takes you an entire week. Like the boys
Yeah.
are all back together. You just went way too hard. It was just a blast. You see each other twice a year. You got to go so hard, and then
I think. I mean, the
it'll be
lungs
with
could take.
song.
How
weeks
many
to
cigars
recover.
did the boys smoke? How many cigars? Their lungs are full. They couldn't run, man.
That's what happened in the Red River rivalry.
Yeah, that's what it was. First point I want to make out, I got a little betting trend. Old Reese Snyder style. I mean, this is vintage Reese. He would have come out with this stat. Kansas has failed to cover 12 of the last 13 as an underdog against AP ranked teams. Come on. That is a
great
Paul
stat.
Reese stat
It's a
from
great stat
he
right there.
approves. That means it's a great one. So I
love
like
that
Oklahoma
one.
in this spot. I think Oklahoma's defense has been splendid. I think last week was a fluke. I'm gonna classify it as a hangover in my book. I just as a general spectator of college
Don't knock
football.
my Knights too much.
I know.
We're
JP
still
has
gonna
a
win 8
little
games.
UCF.
John Reese.
Eight's a lot. Eight's a lot for that team. But Danny Stutzman, you gotta highlight him, right? He's probably gonna win Big 12 Player of the Year, or he should be in that conversation if he's not in your head at least. 70 total tackles on the year. 70. Let that settle in. That's almost 10 tackles a game, which is much better rate than most of the college football players out there. 2 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 1 interception, and a touchdown already. So look for that name to be all over the board this week. However, the total is at 65 for good reason. Oklahoma has the 7th ranked offense in college football, and Kansas has a lot of weapons. I think Jalon Daniels, if I read right, Schaefer, game time decision, correct?
Yeah, so Leipold says he's optimistic about his return, but that's for the whole season. He says he's more like a doubtful / game time decision for Saturday. I'm gonna side on that he's not playing. That's my case. He wouldn't have said he's optimistic if he thought like he was playing on Saturday. I think he is like legitimately thinking he'll come back maybe for that Iowa State game in next week.
Yeah, probably. That'll be perfect for you. That's how it works out for Nebraska fans, too. They bounce back right before, and then they smoke us. But looking at Oklahoma's passing game, they throw for 328 passing yards a game. That's a substantial amount. I mean, it's the 2nd ranked offense in the Big 12 behind UCF, who they just got into a dogfight with. And Kansas doesn't defend the pass very well. They're ranked 8th in the Big 12 at defending the pass. I think that's where you're going to see a lot of the separation between these two teams. I think Oklahoma leading the series and going out with a bang is where I see this going. They lead this series 80, 26, and 6 all time. I mean, that is a pure dominance. But this is a good Kansas team, and I believe in Jason Bean, so it could be a good one for a while. I think Oklahoma stretches it away at the end and takes advantage. I think Oklahoma wide receivers have a big day. I want to mark this down for you right now. Andrell Anthony to score. If you can get that bet somewhere in some God known, take it. Take it. I think they're going to have a big day. What? Oh, no. Is he out? You're smiling like
he's out for the year.
No way.
He blew his knee out in the Texas game.
They had him listed as like one of the markers on 3. So don't look at me.
Hey, that's fine.
Hey, don't have us to the best of us.
We can.
I'm not using on 3 as a resource. Those fucking guys.
Hey, just come to me
right,
for your
how about
source,
Jarrell
man.
Farouk? Yeah.
No, Farouk's playing. Yeah.
I'll suck it. He's gonna take your team for fucking 50.
So,
dude.
I'll get into that. Parks, you made good points because while I have Kansas here, I just don't know how much I can defend this football team. Like I said before, I think
you did say they wouldn't get a bowl eligible this year. You did say that.
We'll get to that later. I think Bean will take it under. I'll get to that later. I think Bean's going to take under center on Saturday. I think he's one of the better backup quarterbacks in college football, but I think there's just a lot going on around him, and specifically on the other side of the ball for him. That's going to put him up for a challenging task here. The good news is they've been averaging 7.9 yards in their last 2 games. Like 7.9 yards per play is going to be pretty successful for football, except they still found a way to lose in Stillwater 2 weeks before their bye last week. Being through for 410 in Oklahoma State, but just really poor. It was mainly in the first half. He was bad in the second half, had bad throws, some costly picks, and it ended up ultimately costing them the game. I thought that offensive line really struggled against Oklahoma's D-line. So he's going to be really up for the task if they want to go through the air. When I look at the Kansas defense, man, the secondary is the highlight of that defense. What can Kobe Bryant and company do to try and slow down this passing game? Because even with Andrell Anthony out, that's going to help Kansas a little bit, but you still have Farouk, you still have Anderson, you still have Drake Stoops, and they've got great tight ends at Oklahoma as well. So they're going to be really up for the task against that passing game. Offense, like if you're going to want to win this football game at home, you have to slow it down, and you got to rely on your running backs, Daniel Highshaw and Devin Neal. Like they rushed for over 300 yards against UCF, and they blew them out. You don't need 300 yards to win against Oklahoma, but man, you probably need 185 to 200, and those two combined for 100 yards against Oklahoma State. You got 410 passing yards from Jason Bean, but when those two only combine for 100 yards together, like it happened a couple of weeks ago, you're still going to find a way to win a football game or lose a football game because that's your bread and butter. I don't think this defense is very good. Maybe the secondary can just make miraculous plays and pick off Gabriel a couple times, but I think they learned their lesson, like you said, Parks, at home last week. But that's going to be kind of the recipe for Kansas to really pull off this win at home. But we've seen crazier things happen. What was that? Caleb Williams, when he was a freshman, they should have lost that game, and it was tight to the end.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb Williams literally took the ball out of that running back's hands to get a first down.
Yeah, we've seen Pitt beat Louisville. We've seen Virginia beat North Carolina. We've seen crazier things in Kansas, which is better than both those teams that got wins. Win at home, right? Hey, that's tough, Reese. I'm sorry. I don't know. Reese, you can go first, though. You can pick your ATS game or pick right here. You're the lead, by the way, on the graphic.
Yeah, big 4-1 weekend. Thank God. Sooners all the way.
I'm going OU as well. Oh, God.
It's got to be unanimous here. I'll just say it for everybody. Parks, you're not taking Kansas, are you?
No. I got Oklahoma minus the 10. Kansas looking for the first time. It would be their first time beating Oklahoma since 1997. Give me Boomer.
OU minus the 10 might make it into the 11 a.m. make 100 before 2:30 kick parlay that should have hit last week. I hedged out of it and guaranteed money, but
we need to start sharing these things. I would like to make 100 before.
Okay, well, I'll send it to you. It's the 11 a.m. special. I call it.
Didn't hit.
It made money last weekend.
Yeah, but that means it's due.
I need to start betting my board.
Penn State was the only thing that didn't hit, and I was able to get live Ohio State minus 4.5. Hedge out of it, guarantee myself a profit. So it all worked out, Schaefer. Don't you worry, dude.